Doing it.
There you go. Hey,
It says
we're
it's
live,
live.
Miriam.
All right.
hmm
It was saying preparing. Hi guys, welcome to SNAX via
What's
YouTube.
up? Okay, doing something different.
Doing something different, trying new things. Um, again, welcome. Today's topic again is men are the actual cause of high divorce rates. It's a
They
very
the reasons,
controversial statement I made, but I believe
right?
that is true. We'll dig into that in a minute. But
Uh-oh.
I'm Miriam, and
I'm Courtney. What's up? Hey, snackers.
and we would like. What are you snacking on today? Are you snacking on
I'm not snacking on anything. I've had a weird day. I haven't really eaten. I had some cottage cheese about an hour ago, and that's all
anything?
I've had today. So I'm gonna have to get something.
I used
hmm
to love cottage cheese, but now,
So good. That's what I was thinking when I ate it. I was like, this is so good.
was it? Did you have fruit with it or just plain?
Just plain fruit.
I
I have
love
let
cottage
two
cheese.
pineapples go bad when I cut them. The other day I had to throw it out, and I bought another one because I bought one last week and I had to throw that out. I'm so mad.
Yeah, you
And
gotta cut them
cottage-
right away. You gotta dig into
no, a lot of times I don't. They're not ripe if I don't cut them, but I guess these have been ripe. So,
Will you get the sweet ones? It'll say on the tag like super sweet.
well, I was gonna ask you because I got it from Target, but it didn't say super sweet, the one that you said.
Oh, then
So,
it's not the right one. Because the other one, the ones that are super sweet are already right. Like you cut into that and
mm,
it's gonna be sweet.
I've never had those.
Oh, okay. You gotta look at the tag and it'll say like super sweet or deliciously sweet. I don't know.
Mm.
Anyway, I'm not really snacking on anything either, so we can jump into the snack shit. Well,
Okay.
snack shit. Um, this has
Hello.
been a busy week for
For relationships.
yeah, for relationships. The biggest one is the announcement of the divorce between Bill and Melinda Gates.
Another one
Two
bites the dust.
billionaires getting divorced. That's unusual, right?
After 25 years. Yeah.
27.
27.
27 years. It's a
Long
dusty.
years. Girl,
But
get that
then
check
they
like
coming. Go
huh?
ahead. Go
I'm gonna
ahead.
say, girl, get that check like Bezos' wife did, and keep it pushing.
They said he transferred 1.8 billion into her account the day that they announced their divorce.
Really? I didn't hear that.
Got
And
her
then tell
20 1.8
what
billion, I should say.
billion. And then Miriam, what were
Billion.
you saying about the girlfriend? She would allow him to see a girlfriend once
Okay,
a year.
so it has been said that Bill Gates and Melinda agree. They have some sort of agreement that says he is allowed to spend at least one weekend vacation with his ex girlfriend that I guess he's seen throughout the marriage. So
Wow.
he has been in relationship with this ex girlfriend of his for the entire marriage, and it was agreed by Melinda that he could do this, and she knows about her probably and everything. They
Once a
probably
year?
know each other at least once a
Oh, at
year.
least once, so they can do it 50 times a year. Oh, okay. I was like, what is getting together once a year doing? What kind of
Yeah,
girl is
right.
setting up for
No,
that?
at
Okay.
least. So at
Oh,
the bare minimum, he can spend a weekend away in a vacation home that they have somewhere, and they can
and
spend
there's no,
their time together
and there was no cap at the most. There was no,
unfettered.
wow.
No, I
Bill
don't know. I
Gates,
didn't hear about a cap.
he
Nope.
ain't even cute. So that's just like, you got a girlfriend, you better. These Bezos had a
But
little like,
he's got cute money. That's what it's. I mean,
no.
that's really what I mean.
This girlfriend probably been with him for 25 years too, girl, though.
Yeah, she has. I mean, she's
Oh,
been
she
there
has
throughout the whole marriage. So
crazy.
I mean, I think they're calling it his ex girlfriend because they obviously had some sort of relationship before he got married. And he ended up
Oh,
marrying Melinda. Yes. So this is
ooh,
somebody that he dated before he got married. and then obviously wanted to continue dating her.
That's like Prince Charles and Camilla. You know, that's their story. He had to marry
Exactly.
Diana, but who he
Exactly.
ended up cheating with the whole time? Camilla, and then go get
It
married.
is like he should. I mean, he couldn't be with her because of the
Right.
rules, you know. But yeah, that it happened.
It sure
It
does. All right,
definitely
who's
happened.
next?
Next,
Next.
let's see who's next. Erica, Mena, and Safaree. They just need to get it together. I mean, they every so often they're like, "Oh, I want a
2
divorce," and
weeks.
they talk bad about each other when
They do.
they're mad at each other. They really say hurtful things, and I've
They go
never
for the
been a fan of
jugular.
that. Like, if I'm gonna argue with you, like no name calling, none of that.
Yeah.
Especially, and you're broadcasting this to the world. You're
They always on social
things,
media, telling all the business.
telling all their business, and constantly threatening divorce
Right.
with each other. Like, oh yeah, I'm done. I can't believe I married this trash woman. Like, what are you
And
doing?
now they having baby number 2. Is that what you said? They have.
And now they're having baby number 2.
And the sex is still
Wendy
alive.
Williams entered the conversation and was like, you know, you two need to keep your business off of social media. And then they want to get mad when people have stuff to say about their relationship. It's
right,
like
that you put out there
if you weren't posting it.
Right.
It makes no sense. Like, she's.
So what did Erica say?
So Erica claps back at Wendy because Wendy was giving her sound advice. Oh, and she said that Erica needed to grow up, which she does.
She does. I'm like, true.
Yeah. So Erica was like, Wendy needs to pull up so I can beat her ASS. And then because her husband obviously didn't do a good job of it.
Oh, that
so
is
now
just...
you're like trivializing domestic violence.
Yeah, that's not cool.
And it just proves how immature she is.
Right. You just proved Wendy's fact.
And this is the type, these are the type of women that men are marrying.
Right.
Like, how did she even get married with a mouth like that? How did she get married with, I mean, it's just, I'll get into that later, but it's just like.
Fellas, why y'all like that kind of girl?
That's what they like. And then they want to complain when, oh, she wants a divorce and she wants this and this and that. It's like, you chose her.
Or they complain that she's nagging me, but y'all get off on that. That's what y'all do. Like,
exactly.
All right, 3. We ain't gonna. We gotta keep this pushing.
I know.
Good luck.
There's a lot to that. What was the last one we wanted to talk about?
Oh, Tristan and Khloe.
Another. I'm just like, Khloe. Like,
poor Khloe.
I mean, so we know, like, I think it was last week, or no, the week before that, we talked about how Khloe posted like a picture of her hand with this huge diamond on it.
Right.
And it was kind of like cryptic, like nobody was like, okay, is it an engagement ring or what?
Right.
And I told you, I felt like she didn't call it that and like celebrate because she didn't want to look stupid. Because not only did you take him back after he's cheated on you numerous times, and you unfriended, well, it wasn't her friend, but you dragged Jordan Woods for even just kissing him or whatever the case was. Then you got back with him, and then you got engaged to him, and now he's cheating again with this beautiful girl. I mean, the girl is gorgeous.
Yeah, she's pretty. And she's showing receipts, honey.
Huh?
And she showing receipts. She saw how Khloe, DM'd her and was like, can we just keep this quiet with prayer hands?
Like, no, we talking about this.
Right. Hilarious.
Like, we don't talk about this. Because it's like your dude is shady. Like, and you just keep giving him chance after chance. But like you said before, I think you said it, like, the Kardashians just kind of want their kids to have the same father. So.
Well, just use his sperm if that's the case, girl. Learn that. Like, man, stop trying to make him into. He's not monogamous. He's not a monogamous man. So either deal with it. at all. That either. He's not marriage material.
Why would you get engaged to him?
I wouldn't even want him to be my baby daddy. You know what I mean? Honestly.
Right. It's
I'm
not like
moving
he's
on.
like an exceptional father. And
I mean, he may be a good dad. I don't know, but I don't even want that energy around. If you can't treat an adult woman, I don't want you around my baby woman trying to raise a, you got to raise a woman in these streets. That's not a good example.
Right. That's true.
I think he is a good dad. I mean, he's always around and whatever, but just,
Well, we need to define good dad, but
that's relative. That's another show, huh?
I'll
So
leave
what's
that
the topic
alone.
for today?
Yes. Is men are the cause of the high divorce rate. But it's based on a video. I put the link in the flyer. So if you saw the flyer, you were able to click on the link and watch the video if you like. One of our snackers sent this video to us. One of our brother snackers sent it to us and wanted us to give our comments on the video. There's a lot to this video. So
there's a lot going on.
Yeah, there's a lot to dig into. So we kind of narrowed it down to 3 major topics that were discussed in the video. I don't know if some of you are familiar with Kevin Samuels, but he calls himself the Godfather, and typically Black women call into his podcast and ask him to tell them their value, assess
their worth.
Yes.
What kind of man should they be getting? Right.
What'd you say?
I said, what kind of man should they be getting based on their, looks and what's on paper? Like, it's ridiculous.
Right. Sexual, and he also talks about sexual marketplace value, whatever.
Yeah.
He comes up with the most random. So I'll say first off, disclaimer, he uses the term high value man quite a bit. And I totally disagree with that term. I don't think that the men he's describing, which tend to be men who have money, who take care of their bodies, and just basically overall look good and make a lot of money. These are who he calls high value men. And I disagree with that term. I don't know how you feel about it, Courtney. Are you okay with
just looking at him? You can tell his definition is not going to be right. So
yeah, I'm not going to be using that term.
Look at him.
Anyway, let's start out.
So wait, he was on Joe Budden's. It wasn't actually his podcast. Yeah. He was on Joe Budden's podcast, and they were discussing this. Go ahead.
These various topics.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one was modern women versus traditional women. So I actually looked up, there was something and it talks about like what we consider a modern woman versus what you would consider a traditional woman.
Mm-hmm.
And most of us know like traditional women tend to believe, I know that I consider myself a traditional woman, so I believe in.
Is that barefoot and pregnant?
No. It's just more like you believe in like gender roles. Like I believe that women have a role in the home and so do men, and they're supposed to work together to,
make a household.
Create a family and operate a household. Whereas modern women tend to have like high powered careers. They kind of feel like they're independent, and men tend to not like that too much. They tend to be maybe a little overbearing with men, and they feel like they're more men's equal. And when we say equal, obviously we're not talking about strength, but they just feel like I think they should have an equal say in how things are done in the home. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, so which one are you?
I'm more traditional. But I do have traits of modern, but no, I'm traditional. I'm not modern in my beliefs. I'm modern in just my work ethic a little bit, but no, in my beliefs and the man in the household, I'm very traditional.
Okay, so guys,
I
you're
could be
talking
barefoot and
to
pregnant.
two. What's that?
I could be barefoot and pregnant.
Oh, okay.
I don't have a
So
problem
you're
with it.
talking to two women who consider themselves traditional women. So just to give you a little, just a definition to hold on to. Modern women tend to idealize equality in relationships, and a modern woman might prefer to lead in the relationship and
Oh,
may
no.
focus on career and education first before marriage and children. That's a great way to put it. Okay.
But people assume that's me because because I haven't gotten married and I've had my career. Like even family, but they're like, "But Courtney, you wanted to do this." And I'm like, "No, I didn't. I just didn't really find the one I wanted to marry." But they assumed that I was just gung ho on my career. You know what I mean? Funny. So go ahead.
And I'm not either. Like I've never. I mean, yeah. I mean, we have degrees. We
Right.
kind of climb the ladder or whatever. But
We gotta do something with our time.
yeah, I mean, what are we supposed to do? But at the end of the day, I think you and I both have a strong focus on wanting marriage and children. Like that's
Right.
something that we
Family. Yeah.
And so traditional women, it says, strive to have a nuclear family, a husband, children, and uphold values that some people would say are old fashioned today. Meaning, like you said, cooking, serving your man, like fixing his plate.
Daddy eat first. Like,
I mean,
that
I was
rule.
raised like that because I was raised by Southern parents. So my
Right.
parents are from the South, even though I grew up in the city. So I'm
Right.
kind of like both, right? I know that this is what I saw in my home. The women were serving the men. They would be in there watching football. We'd be in there cooking. And
Right.
then when it
Taking
was
some
time to
snacks and some beer in there.
yeah, when it was time to eat, like, okay, it's time to eat. We set the table, we present everything. That's just how it was. So that's how I feel it should be. But there are other women who don't feel that way. And so I think the reason why that was a point made in the video is that they're saying that modern women are the ones who are having difficulty finding a spouse or finding someone to marry and partner with.
And why is that?
Because they're saying the men in the relationship, maybe they don't feel needed, maybe they're being out earned by the woman, maybe they feel
But she's an
the
alpha male. You said like she likes to lead, right? So yeah.
she wants to lead or she wants an equal say. Like, because I even feel like, I mean, if you follow the Bible says like the man is supposed to lead. And if
Right.
you find a man that's equipped to do that, then you let him lead. You know what I mean? But a modern woman might say that no, he ain't leading me. Like I'm gonna lead too. Like I need to be having say so too. I need to talk about what I want to do. You know what I
Remember the
mean?
date I told y'all went on and we went to the rooftop on that hotel?
Oh yeah.
And we had walked from one restaurant and then went over there. And now it was dark and cold. And dude had me out there walking. So then we were gonna walk back to the first restaurant where the cars were. And there were some electric scooters on the corner. And so, before I got mine, I used to like pick those up on the corner. So I had the app. So I was like, oh, let's get the scooters. It was so much fun. So we jumped on scooters and rode scooters back to our car.
Oh,
So it's funny. So it was fun. So when we started, I was like, woo. And he was behind me, he's just getting on. And then I was like, oh, let me cross the street or something. And he was like, oh, let me lead. And he just and then went in front. And I just loved the way it sounded.
yeah.
Oh, let me lead this, right? So I just loved the way it even sounded. It was just like so masculine and sexy.
Totally. But I think what I don't like is that I do agree, like a man might have trouble with a modern woman, but here's the thing: men, you get to choose what type of woman you
Hello.
want.
Right.
If you want a woman that's traditional, get a traditional woman. Don't get a modern woman and think you're gonna change her into the traditional.
Or complain. Yeah, and complain about she's not doing this, she's not doing that.
Like you knew who she was when you got with her. This is why, okay. I won't go there yet, but this is just It's like,
Hilarious.
guys, come on. You guys are choosing these women.
A
Like, what do
friend
you
married this
want us
girl
to
and
do?
he was talking about, right. So they divorced now, but I was like, well, he was
Oh,
like, well, first of all, the man, a friend. So the
oh,
man, come home working and, want dinner and stuff. And like, we say she was the queen of the casseroles, throw everything in a dish and throw it in the oven. I said, what? And he was like,
right.
and she just never even tried. She need to ask my mom how to cook something or like, and I'm like, well, I'm sure she was like that before. She wasn't roasting up turkeys and chickens
Correct.
before and then started making casseroles, She was
Right,
always making a
right.
casserole. So,
Exactly.
to your
It's
point.
like, come on. And I think I wrote on my blog years ago. I was like, you either want a Michelle or you want a Beyonce. Like,
Oh,
a
yeah.
Beyonce is kind of running her own thing. She has her own career. She's successful. There are certain things you're not going to get from a Beyonce that you're going to get from a Michelle. They
Right.
don't typically exist in the same woman.
No,
Like,
you can't.
you can't have a woman who's all independent in her career and then she come home and she
That's
frying
what
up
they want.
chicken. Yeah, it's like,
I
no.
want to go. I want to go half on the bills, but I want the dinner on the table. Like, no, it don't work
No,
like that,
honey
boo.
bunny, no. That's what I call Lauren, honey bunny. No,
Honey bunny.
it just doesn't work that way.
Mm.
We all want things like, Kevin Samuels always talking about, oh, women have their standards are too high, what we want. What you guys want is unrealistic. So to that point, modern women versus traditional women, if you want a modern woman, you talk about it before you get married, before you get in a relationship. Say,
Exactly.
I expect, this is what I expect. You know what? My cousin gave me the best advice years ago. It was a woman. She had been married to she's my cousin by marriage, but her husband, they had been married for like 20 years when she gave me this advice. She was like, the reason why a lot of relationships don't work is unspoken expectations.
Yes.
Unspoken, like, we
Assuming.
expect this person to be a
Yeah.
certain way, but they've never heard us talk about it. They've never
Right.
heard us say what we expect. We just expect
Right.
them to know. And then that's what causes issues. And then they just
Yeah.
kind of fester and blow up.
True that.
So it's like, talk about what you want from your partner before you commit.
Solidify the partnership,
Yes, exactly.
because it'll be over.
Exactly. And it'll save you both a lot of time. And I think a
Yeah.
lot of people are just overlooking red flags. I mean, we all see them. We all
Okay.
know they're there and we're just ignoring them left and right because we're so in
Left and
love.
right. It feels so good to be in love with the wrong person.
Right.
Watch the time, mirror.
Okay. So number two, this was kind of a very specific, it's kind of an example, but
Yeah.
um basically, the person who submitted this talks about how Hispanic men still get respect despite being a low earner or having a job that may not require education. So he was like, they could be on the side of the freeway selling oranges and they could still come home and have that woman cooking them food and, being, the traditional woman as they
Traditional.
call it, the
Yeah.
barefooted pregnant or whatever you want to call it. And so I have my take on it. Let's hear yours first, Brittany.
Well, mine is that I don't like comparing cultures because that's a cultural difference. So first of all, usually, and I'm not generalizing stuff, but it's like immigrants came over here and that's the job they can get, selling stuff on the corner or whatever it is. He brought his family over here. He did that. He brought you to a damn civilized nation out of that
That's
country you were
true.
in. You know what I mean? So that is equivalent to the black man or whatever man being a lawyer or whatever you want. Like he did that. So he is bettering his family. It may not look like it because you see him selling oranges on the corner, but no, he just bettered his entire family. So,
That's a good
you got to be
point.
careful when not you, but people like compare cultures. So
Yeah.
that's my
And
take.
I had a similar thought. In their culture, it's called machismo, right? It supports, their culture supports male dominance. So that's just in their culture. Like that's what they like, and their men are notorious for domestic abuse.
Yeah.
But that's just their culture, and so like you said, Courtney, we can't really speak on someone else's culture or we can't expect the same thing within our culture.
Right.
Like I'm sure Asian women don't operate the same. I know Asian women ain't dating nobody broke. I have never, I'm telling you, like
I've seen a couple, but I know what you mean.
They just generally don't. And that's because in their culture that status is the thing.
It's important.
So you could easily say the same thing about them. They want too much. They want men who make all this money. But that's their culture. That's what they want. So, and then my second point on that one was most Black people are operating in a 2-income household. Okay. Which means
true.
I'm working and my husband is working. So you can't expect me to be doing the same things that a stay-at-home mom would be doing.
Like now that means, yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, no, like guys are like, oh well, you still need to do X, Y, and Z. Like I had a relationship where it was still expected that I cook, that I take care of the kids, and I do the homework, and I do all this. We both.
That means you're doing 90% while he's doing his 50% or whatever. That's not fair.
Exactly. And that was my whole thing with like, feminism, and they're talking about, oh, I could do anything you could do. No, that is not my
that ain't me. I'm not a feminist.
No, at all. It's like, but if I have to work, do that, we have to share the domestic responsibility.
Yeah.
You can't expect me to work full time and then come home and be domestic full time. It goes back to
the house clean.
A modern and traditional woman. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
So if you want a traditional woman, how about make strides so that you can support a household on your income alone?
Okay, so she can stay at home and be a traditional woman. Make her a traditional woman.
Take care of your kids. Look good, go to the gym, work out, keep it tight, whatever it is that you want. You have to be realistic and understand we are sharing the financial burden with you.
Right.
So you have to share the domestic burden with us. So that's all I have to say about that. Now, the last one is basically the topic of the show, which was men are the high divorce rate. And I say this because it goes back to a comment that I made at the beginning of the show. You are choosing your mate. They say women choose who they're going to date. Men choose who they're going to marry.
Mm-hmm.
Women are not getting on one knee for the most part. So that means if you get a divorce or
that's a whole nother show, Miriam. That's another show, getting on a knee for a man and asking the man to marry.
You know how I feel. You know how I feel about that. But it's like, you have to understand that you are doing the choosing, so you need to vet women a little better. I think men are a little too shallow.
They have blinders on and shallow. You're right.
Shallow, blinders on, don't know the right questions to ask. I've my brother gets all the juice. I'm like, this is what you need to ask, this and this and that. Like, how do you know a woman's really into you? We'll do a show on that, so you will know. Because women can manipulate you and trick you and make you think that they are head over heels in love with you, and they're not.
My friend who's new here, right? I told you he was saying how like LA women it's like so hard to date here, and he's realizing that there are classes of women. He's like, it's the one that's like working hard and so busy and doesn't even have time like you. And I was like, whatever. And then you got the ones that want to just go out for dinner. He's like, I have never heard such a thing. And he never heard of money. What you call it? A gold digger. He's like, I never really heard of that.
Really? And then, you have to tell them his background. He's from The reason why he
Brits.
doesn't understand it is because he's not American.
Yeah. So he's from Britain. So they have a different culture, right? So
Mhm.
he's never heard of that, but like at the same time, he was saying these chicks will go out for a dinner. He said, "How they use you for a dinner?" I was like, he's like, he couldn't believe that a woman would even do that just for a dinner. I said, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
Well, too, I mean, we're in California. In case you guys didn't know that, we're in Southern
That's what I
California.
told him. There's a lot of that out here.
Because, and it's expensive to live here, period. So most families are two-income households. Most men cannot afford to support a family on their own income. And number two, a lot of these women are broke. So yeah, they
Bro.
will use you for a dinner in a heartbeat.
I've always been like, my time is too important. Have you ever been on a date for 2 hours and it is the most boring thing because you're not interested? Like, it's not even worth to play the food. I'd rather eat a hot bologna sandwich. Like, no, at the crib. It's it's
good
torture.
today,
She's like, those were good. Okay, fried bologna. It's
Those
torture. I
fried.
couldn't do it, but yeah.
I've done it. I did it in college. I was a starving student, and yeah, I went out with guys just to get a free. But it wasn't like it was boring, like watching paint dry. Like I enjoyed
And that's you're
myself.
young. It's like it's 30 and 40-year-olds doing that, girl. It's still
Really?
30, 40, 50-year-olds. Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
okay
get
then.
your life together, girl. You going out just for it.
But these are the women, and since so Kevin Samuels also talks about how men don't. If a man has his own money, he doesn't really care about how much money the woman makes or what she's making. Which here it does matter. I'm sorry. He's in Atlanta, where you could buy a home for
Okay.
$200,000. No, you cannot do that
And
here.
ball out.
Yeah, you can't do that here. So most men are looking for a woman who can also pull her weight out here. I have not really known any guys that have dated a woman who was broke or who was working at a fast food place at the age of 40. Like, no, they are, these men expect their woman to carry some of the load. So I can't say that that applies to all men. I don't think it does. I think some men are looking for women who can help financially, help build the family and, whatnot. So a lot of Kevin's ideas, I mean, I agree with a couple, but for the most part, I think he gets it all wrong. I think he's operating and thinking from his own little bubble in Atlanta and his rich friends, whoever they are. Like, I don't even, I question his entire lifestyle. But
I know, honey. People are like, does he swing the other way or what? Because
as much you know what I've noticed, Courtney, he
I'm
is
sorry, Kevin,
bitter.
but that's the word on the
He's
street.
bitter.
He's big. That's what I said. Because it's like you said, some of his stuff, it does make sense. It's a good point. It's the delivery. So when you have to deliver something like with evil and hate and just be mean and degrading for, on a woman, like it's so sad the way he treats them and they allow him to treat it. That's something inside with him. That's something that, can't nobody fix but him. He got mama issues, somebody issues.
Well, and he's twice divorced, has stepkids, but is so adamant about this narrative and like, oh,
Oh
none of the
yeah.
men want no woman with no kids. And it's like, there's a lot of men that actually date and
Yeah.
marry women who have kids.
And adopt their children.
And especially if they have kids too. What 40, 50-year-old man do you know that doesn't have any kids? Like, that's very rare.
I'm
It's
like, I know a few.
very
It's a
rare.
lot now. I've met so many, and I'm so surprised. I'm like,
Really?
really? Mm-hmm.
Do they want to have kids?
Some do, yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, a lot of men, black men who are just like black women, haven't had their kids, haven't been married. Like, interesting.
I mean, a lot of people are waiting later in life to get married, which I think is a good thing. But for women, it's not. It's difficult because, you know, if we don't get married super young, I feel like getting married super young, you're just not ready. Like I wasn't ready to get married when I was engaged at 19. But someone like Kevin Samuels might say, okay, that's prime time. You know, like
Right.
you need to be settling down early. And it's like these women aren't ready for marriage. That's why the guys are
No.
marrying them and then getting divorced. And then the woman don't let you see your kids and she's taking all your
Okay.
money. And then
Yeah,
it's like,
lifetime of yeah.
no, but they're just not mature enough. We're
Hmm.
just not mature enough. And so it would behoove men and women to wait until they're emotionally ready to commit their lives to someone. Like, I think if we looked at it like differently, like you are committing your life to this person. This person has the
Okay.
authority to make decisions about whether you live or die. If something happens to you,
Ooh.
that woman, that man is going to be able to say, pull the plug.
Okay,
Can
dang,
we
man.
think about these things?
Right. Now that you say it like that, let me make sure that.
Like, can we really think about these things
Right.
and the purpose of marriage? Like, we need to think about all that before we just willy nilly telling people. And Kevin is quick to tell somebody to get back with their baby's daddy. And it's like, what if he was beating
You
her?
ain't
Like,
shit back then, right? So that's my only hope is to get back with him because his child. Nobody else gonna love my child like him. He don't even love the child. He don't even see the
I
baby. No.
barely
Ah,
see the kid, but yeah, get back with him.
get back with him. Yeah.
Kevin, no. Anyway, I know we're probably out of time. I mean, I could go on with that topic, but that topic leads to other topics, and
Yeah.
so we'll pick up on some of the other things he discussed in the video at another time. But I hope you guys got a lot out of it, especially the snacker that sent the video to
Do
us.
you know his name?
Yeah, I do, but I don't know if he's okay
I
with
would think
me
they want us to
announcing.
shout him out. But
Yeah.
okay. Usually people want you to shout them out.
Okay. Hi,
I don't think
Alfred.
so.
Great
Thank you,
video
Alfred, for the video.
topic. I
Yeah,
had
thank you.
fun researching it and discussing it because I had my own thoughts about it anyway. But thanks for sending in the video.
Because we asked
And
you guys to send in topics if you have any. So that's what he did. We appreciate it. If you want us to discuss something, feel free. Hit us up on social media.
yeah, email, social media, here in the comments.
SNAXchats at Gmail and snacks_LA, Instagram and Twitter, and Snacks Fans on Facebook.
Yes. And YouTube, snacks_LA. We're also audio only on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, any platform that offers podcasts. We're pretty much on it.
That you get your podcasts from.
Yeah. So I hope that this covered all the questions that you had, Alfred. And if there's
Right.
more, like let me know. You know, we'd be happy to like address some of the other things he talks about in the video too.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks for
Yay.
joining us, you guys,
Thank
in
you.
life
Love.
and snacks.
Bye, snackers.
Yeah.